City builder / colony sims with a real-time-ish combat layer are becoming quite popular. Mandate Order is another entry into the genre from a small indie developer. How's it shaping up? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. Note: I take journalistic integrity seriously. The developer reached out to me and asked for a review of this game, but I don't let that color my opinion. Also a warning, there may be some foul language on some of the game screens. We've looked at a lot of colony builder, city manager, city builder, colony manager. Yeah, that's it. And this time on Strategy for Busy People, it's Mandate Order by Digital Sky. I put just over 3 hours into this game. Now, before you get all conspiracy theory and accuse me of being a shill for the Chinese Communist Party, I can assure you that I have no special love for any particular government. It's just a really strange coincidence that Chinese developers and publishers keep reaching out to me to review their games. Anyway, let's talk about important stuff like gameplay. Now, Mandate Order is not that far along in its development, but there is already a reasonably impressive amount of content here. Like with most games in this genre, you start out with nothing and have to start constructing your city from scratch, providing the basic resources that are required for your people to survive, thrive, and for the city to function. Food, water, shelter, you know the drill. And, in what is likely also not a surprise, Mandate Order implements the standard setup of chopping trees to make logs and processing logs to make lumber or charcoal or blah blah blah. Where Mandate Order makes things a little interesting is the concept of work crews. Instead of managing individual workers, crews are assigned to buildings, and buildings may have 0, 1, or more work slots for work crews. Work crews are made up of 5 inhabitants, and these crews live throughout your settlement in various tents. It's unclear if there will be higher density housing in the future. Anyway, as you build tents, crews move in, and you can assign them duties in your various buildings. Unassigned crews will be general-purpose stuff movers, but you also get the ability to build a logistics facility where crews with carts can move goods around. This brings up a few different interesting game mechanics. You can build transport stations that employ crews with wagons to move goods long distances. One of the first scenarios for this is when you begin to get metal supply chains up and going. You can mine copper, but it's quite far away, so you build a transport station next to the mine and then use wagons to routinely send copper from the mine to wherever you might have your forge. While this is kind of a fun mechanic, there is a bit of micromanagement I found where it seemed like wagons would wear out or get moved around and not end up back at the origin transport station, and you might not notice this and wonder why your supply chain came to a screeching halt. Another interesting mechanic, which was actually kind of a flaw and which the developers have already said they are re-engineering, is the food gathering mechanic. I had to send some soldiers to take out a boar nest before I could build my mine, and then a bunch of boar meat and hides were just sitting around, forever not being collected, until I built a specific gathering building where those items were in its radius. Ho-hum. But that useful anecdote brings up the topic of combat. Similar to Manor Lords, which I have looked at a few times, Mandate Order employs some semi-real-time combat. You can raise soldiers from your citizens and equip them with equipment. But this pool of soldiers comes out of your inhabitants, who then aren't available for work crews, so you take a temporary productivity hit until your inhabitants fill back up, and we'll get to that move-in mechanic momentarily. You have some basic controls over your soldiers right now, in the form of being able to kinda sorta direct their formation and some limited control over what they attack and how. Interestingly, there does not appear to be a way to re-outfit the unit once it takes casualties, but you can seemingly disband and reform it without having lost any of the equipment, which is maybe weird and maybe won't survive forever as a mechanic. Fundamentally, this is all solid, but pretty basic, and I expect things to get fancier over the long run. There also appears to be some interesting siege engine mechanics and other things, but I didn't play long enough to get to that point. Returning to the move-in mechanics, another interesting thing that Mandate Order does is in how it handles, well, people moving in. In what seems like an unsurprising mechanic, people don't just show up because you built a house. Depending on the satisfaction level of your inhabitants, which is related to the goods you provide them, and whether or not at least 2 or 3 empty dwellings are available, people may or may not move in. Ensuring you have a continual supply of new work crews becomes a matter of managing the available resources, their distribution, and, ultimately, the supply of available housing. There are also other mechanics involving managing small satellite camps that I didn't even get to talk about. Hey, before I give my final verdict, if this is your first episode, this one's free. But if you've watched me before, we're going to make an agreement. You help me level up by clicking subscribe, and I'll keep making these videos. I'll spend the time playing the games and making content that I hope you'll like, and you'll return the favor, okay? Leave comments, tell me what you think. It's all good. You just agree to engage. That's all I ask. The final verdict. For being early and for being a playtest/demo, Mandate Order has a lot of things going for it. And, somewhat jokingly, but not really, I was really pleased that the devs had more than one musical background song. I can't tell you how sad it makes me when a studio just shells out for a single song that gets played on repeat forever. Come on, folks, there's lots of Creative Commons music out there. Anyway, the game has a lot of mechanics that look interesting, and, especially if they have different maps, this thing could keep you entertained for a long time. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, there were jujubes and some meat that was turned into stews, and I'm excited to see how Mandate Order shapes up over the coming months and year, and look forward to playing it again when there's more to it. But while I was close to completing my siege engine, the siren song of Stir Fry was, singing my song. So I made some. Stir fry, not songs. Although if you're in the know, you know I do that too.